Game 3, we'll see who takes it. NRG, Mouse. This is the rubber match.
This is going to be interesting to see how NRG bounce back from this defeat, because they're not normally known for losing to these lesser teams. They're, like, if NRG loses, they lose to like Rival, they lose to Dignitas, maybe Obey every now and then, because that seems to be their kryptonite, but not to Mouse or SK.
I think that conversation is shifting. I think Mouse is a top team. I think you watch them play today against NRG, and I think if you go home today saying that this is not a top team, I don't know what to say to you. I mean, this Mouse squad is shaping up. I think they're getting more consistent, which is always what you want to see out of the lower-end teams that are improving. You want to see that consistency. I feel like anybody can sort of win a game here or there, do it a couple of times, prove it to me. Fall split, I think Mouse are going to be the big guys on top.
I think NRG disrespected Mouse a little bit too much in just the terms of their draft in game number 2. I don't think that the Nuwa in Season 5 is that hot and flavorful.
I don't buy. Listen, I don't buy teams disrespecting teams. I don't think that's the case.
I don't think
Yammyn sitting there going, "Ha, these guys suck. I'm going to play Nuwa."
I don't think that he goes Nuwa against Rival, Dignitas, or Obey Alliance, knowing how frequently aggressive their junglers are.
I don't know about that one. It's certainly a different thought process, but overall, Hebo going to be the jungler of choice. Adapting has been very powerful on this character. The jungle Hebo, no surprise here. Although in the beginning of the season, everybody was kind of warming up to it. Now, jungle Hebo just seems to be the way to go.
It just does a lot of damage, a lot of surprise factor with the knockup, and with the map being widened, mobility is the name of the game. You don't always have to go Janus or the Amaterasu. You can have that Habwa carpet right under you.
Ram and Chang'e, Mouse are going to go to. So the Chang'e one more time. We saw how big it was last game. We'll see if he can do the same in game number 3. Jing, the hunter of choice for NRG, likely to be in the hands of emilitoo. And Janus, well, that confirms that Yammyn will be playing on the Janus.
I like the mobility. Thresholds, the water carpets, through space and time. NRG has some mobility under themselves. The question is, how can they utilize that to their advantage? Are they going to start grouping up to look for those isolated jungle picks? Or are they going to force some team fights?
Well, NRG not going to go for the early Sylvanus pick this time around. Dardez will get his Guardian of Choice again. And we'll see if he can combine what he did Game 1 and Game 2. Because Game 2, he brought out the very aggressive support, the Naja support. Here, he's going to be a little bit more traditional on the Sylvanus. And I've said this a number of times, I love that he has both. I know that people, I like to see the weird stuff. I just like to see what wins. Sometimes the weird stuff wins, and sometimes the traditional wins. And I think it's a really big deal to have a Guardian or a support player like Dardez who's able to do both.
Not only does he play the traditional Guardians or the Assassin Najas, he'll bring out the Mage Nox every now and then, or the Warrior Raven from time to time. So you just can't really pinpoint the direction the support out of Mouse is going.
The Nox support is always one of my favorites. It's just, it brings so many different things that your traditional Guardians don't bring, and it's just a lot of fun to watch. Susano will be Cherryo's choice here. We'll see how he works out on the Assassin. You mentioned before that not really his sort of style.
It's not what he's known for. Yeah. He's more known for his Athena, which worked out very well for him in Game 2. He got off to a rocky start in that first game of the Susano, but ended pretty well when he was able to find those picks on emilitoo. The question is, can he do it early game? Can he ramp up to the point that his late game will carry him?
Fafnir and Bellona. Last choices for NRG. maniaKK could be playing on the Bellona, Fafnir and Jing in the dual lane. Janus and Hebo scattered throughout mid and jungle, respectively. And Agni will be BigManTingz here. Totally, both of these drafts look really good.
They do look really solid. The Bellona and the Fafnir, both with disarms, leads me to believe that they're worried about Spudio's Ram late game potential, wanting to shut that one down. Agni late game with the Chang'e for Nika should have a lot of control, and I'm expecting Mouse to start grouping up very quickly in the mid game.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Mouse, though, they've got a ton of control, and I love the way that they've lined up their crowd control. We'll see if it's enough to take the game. Game 3, rubber match, NRG, Mouse.
The excitement is mounting here. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Toli, as we go into Game 3 here between NRG and Mousesports. And Mouse, man, I mean, can we say that they're up here with the top now after this performance they've had? I mean, these games have both been so close. We're going to a Game 3 right now.
You know what I just realized, though? Imagine being an NRG or a Mouse fan and also being from, like, England and having to worry about like the World Cup.
They're on the
they're
double monitoring it right now.
I can't help
yeah.
but mention it. It's a pretty tight match between England and Colombia.
Let's go, Colombia!
Because Hinduman is probably panicking right now. Just like some of you guys might be watching this set between NRG and Mouse, it has definitely been a completely crazy amount of
it really
just,
has been.
I don't even know what's happening really. It's just all over the place it seems, but it's exciting and I love it.
Well, 79% of you took NRG in Game 2 and 79% of you were wrong. Wrong. What are you going to do here now for Game 3? How are you going to vote? Let us know in the Mixer chat. It's so hard to call it between these two teams. I mean, they just look so close.
I feel like you'd be really good at like delivering awfully bad news. Just like, you were incorrect.
Yeah, I really wish I could be the weakest link person in the middle, telling everyone else they're the weakest link. I feel like I could do that.
I could actually see you doing that perfectly, I feel.
Just kind of bring their life down. But this is going to be a close set here. It sounds like we are just about ready to move into Game 3 between Mouse and NRG. Mouse changing things up just a little bit. Nika is still on that Chang'e, yes, but Cherryo going to be on the Susano this time. BigManTingz on the Agni. But they are going back to this dual lane, the Sylvanus Rom dual lane, that got them a ton of pressure in Game 1.
And I actually like this choice from Mouse because Dardez back on the Sylvanus. You can't have any complaints about that one from that Game 1 performance. But Spudio's Rom also, I believe this was actually the god he made his initial SPL debut on. And he played it wonderfully, was really on point with those Astral Barrages, and it just seems like a great go-to god.
Did he take the disarm first? Is that what that was? From EmilZy? It looks like it was. He got that on both of them. Meanwhile, NRG are going to come grab the red buff. Could be trouble for Mouse if they stick around this purple too long and NRG comes over to contest. As they left EmilZy on these creeps alone, it is going to be just emilitoo, it looks like, who's coming over, though, to try and defend. It's too late. Purple buff has been grabbed, and Mouse should be fine.
Clear just a little bit too strong there for Mouse that they were even able to take down the purple buff in time. But now pulls have come through. EmilZy going to get stunned there or locked down there from the root out of Dardez, but he will be able to jump away since he opted for that disarm first.
That is exactly what he went with, that leap. And just now, we're seeing that really work out for him as he was able to reposition away from Dardez. But that was maniaKK who came over to help out with that red buff and then teleported back over to the solo lane tower to go up against Nika here on the Chang'e. This Bellona was picked rather late. So this is definitely something maniaKK really wanted to bring into this matchup. He either trusted against the Chang'e or maybe to shut down Spudio.
I think that taking it against the shutdown for Spudio is probably the more important thing to look for. Nika on the Chang'e, you kind of just let that one go. I don't think any warrior into the Chang'e matchup is going to be favorable. Speaking of favorable, Yammyn in some very unfavorable conditions right now in the mid lane actually ends up losing his purification beats to Cherryo and BigManTingz' aggression.
And he was right to use those. He was under a lot of stress and could very easily have fallen for first blood there. So drops the beads, make sure he's able to get back to the tower line and survive. Meanwhile, BigManTingz clearly looking comfortable on the Agni even early, as they've left EmilZy to his own devices in this dual lane often here throughout these first 2.5 minutes. emilitoo rotating back in now after getting looked like back harpies to try and get up to level 3.
I also can really appreciate what emilitoo did with that start because he knew there was no chance EmilZy and himself were going to have the lane pressure over Mouse. So by defaulting to the red buff, it not only ensures that he's level 2, actually hold that thought though, he's going to get plucked right back into danger there as Spudio and Dardez put some nice poke against the Jing.
I just need Dardez to miss a few just for my health. Can he just show me he can miss a couple in a row?
I don't think that's happening.
My man is just hitting everything,
He's
isn't
a machine.
He really clearly is, as EmilZy comes over to try and defend the purple buff. Looks like it was stripped away, as instead they're going to come back and let that one go. Yeah, it looks like Dardez and Spudio were able to come deny him a little bit more farm.
The adapting Habois, though, is kind of terrifying when you think about it, because Nika will most likely never end up being his target. We all know that Nika likes to build this Chang'e, very health-oriented, so that makes him an unrealistic candidate for some of that Habois targeting. But the ability to possibly one-shot Spudio, that could have massive implications during team fights.
And adapting is the kind of person that you want on, a game-changing god like this Habois. There's a lot of execution required, a lot of pressure to make sure you're landing all your stuff right when you need to, and adapting is the kind of person you can trust to absolutely do that. So we'll see if he's able to get to a comfortable position and farm up and then have that impact as maniaKK. Under a lot of pressure, Waxing Moon lands from Nika, forces out the Eagles rally. maniaKK will survive for now, but has teleport here in just a few seconds.
Not sure that Nika would have been able to even have enough mana for the follow-up unless that took place. Well, he does have the meditation, will in fact choose to use it. I thought that he could have possibly dove there. Instead, it's Yammyn getting aggressed on, but this time, it'll be the first blood. No ifs and or buts about it as Yammyn falls to the likes of Cherryo.
Very clean from Cherryo with the blink into the pull. Really not much that Yammyn could do, especially without the purification beads. And that's just such good awareness because it was only like, what, 15 seconds until those are back up. Cherryo knew exactly when his timing was going to be, came back in and punished off that early aggression they had to take the beads away from Yammyn, which are now back up.
And this is bearing a lot of similarities, though, to Game 1. We saw hyper-aggression out of BigManTingz and Cherryo. This time around, though, I like that BigManTingz is on the Agni. Agni feels like he has way better follow-up in terms of burst damage for the follow-up in the early game. I don't think that Discordia was able to provide that.
Oh, this could be bad. Cherryo is lurking in the jungle. maniaKK going to recognize now. Does have Eagle's Rally available. That has come back up, so he should be okay either way as he avoids getting pulled.
It looks as though the Shield Bash just barely got him out of range of that Wind Siphon, but it won't be enough to protect the red buff across the map as Dardez thinks about picking it up, but he's already got purple.
Why not let him? If he could pick it up, I think maybe you should give it to him. The pull finally going to be off the mark just because I think the root was on the mark, so he wasn't able to grab him.
If he lands one, normally you'd expect the other to follow. I think that pull was maybe him halfway thinking he was going to catch emilitoo in the dash.
Yeah, maybe. Just a little bit off the mark, but it doesn't catch him. Of course, Dardez is obviously allowed to miss one when he hits the other 5, so no problem at all from that one. Typhoon on the maniaKK, not going to be enough damage. This is a Bellona we're talking about. Through Space and Time comes out from Yammyn, and the portal try and chase down the Cherryo, but it's Adapting who goes through.
Cherryo not expecting Adapting to be following up. Yammyn has like no mana, but he's going to get connected on by those Unstable Vortex. Adapting, Crushing Wave, just for good measure, and Cherryo, well, he'll be sent back to base.
Great rotation there from Yammyn, especially through Space and Time and the portals to get Adapting into range. I thought he might have dropped it because he didn't get the knock-up off the water spout, but they were able to get the kill either way, punish Cherryo, and send him back to base. Now Adapting, level 7, 1-0-0, has a little bit of time to farm.
Nika's had a lot of pressure alleviated from his lane. He was already exerting quite a bit of it against maniaKK, as is Chang'e. Has that presence over Warrior. She can just sustain for so long in the lane. We'll be able to avoid a lot of that bludgeon damage also in the way that we just witnessed.
It should be pretty reliable to avoid that bludgeon damage too. It's perhaps one of the more telegraphed abilities in the game. Just quite easy to time it. Even use Waxing Moon to interrupt it. So there's a lot of tools at Nika's disposal, especially with the cooldown she already has and the blue buff to use that pretty liberally as Mousesports group around the red buff to try and strip this away one more time.
Mouse clearly caring a little bit more towards stripping away this red buff as opposed to the purple, and I think their intentions are in the right places. BigManTingz won't connect with the stun, but he will get some of that damage against emilitoo, who gets destroyed.
emilitoo never even gets to play. Going up for looking for the snipes is Spudio. EmilZy in the middle of everything gets pulled right back in. Dragonic Corruption to immune the damage, but Cherryo is awaiting for him when he lands. Dardez gets the kill.
It's always the wisp dot damage. It's got to be one or the other. And Dardez, the way that he's played, and it's not over just yet. Get your energy.
Just doesn't want to use them. Adapting does get BigManTingz in the end. Crushing Wave comes through. Cherryo very low. The auto attack's not going to land, but he'll have the abilities up in time. A double kill for Adapting. Much needed response.
I really like that from Adapting also because he didn't risk it with the water spout and missing. Instead, he continues to tank up a shot knowing that he can afford a few of those on the T1 and finishes it off with the water spout.
But why does Yammyn wait on the beads? Does he not feel that he's under enough pressure? He
was trying to use his ult instead so he could hold onto that purification beads cooldown. Mousesports composition right now, very heavy in crowd control between Tingz and Cherryo, so you want to try and hold on to those beads as long as possible to use them for those extreme case scenarios. And Spudio actually dashing in onto emilitoo with no mana.
Feeling himself a little bit here. He does have a 2-level lead over the Jing, so I don't mind him flexing in that way, but not going to be able to find the kill that time. It looks like we do have a brief pause coming out. A little bit of issues there for EmilZy. We'll get everything sorted for him, get him back into game in just a moment. But Nice play there from Spudio on the left-hand side.
I
or
like
at least
it.
I like the idea. Yeah.
Well, I like that he's choosing to play up on his lead without letting the lead play him. I know that it seems a little bit questionable to dash in there, but they do have vision on the rest of the members from NRG. They know the general areas that they're going to be in, which means that your Hunter can afford to play up a little bit more if he knows that no one's going to come to gank him.
And I know that so far Mouse have been kind of out in front, but really all the kills, all the credit from them going to adapting. That's a problem. Even though Mouse are kind of the ones with the pressure, they're the ones invading, I just don't want to give anything over to adapting, especially on the Habwa.
Yeah, reasonably so, but adapting has had a pretty strong start with that in mind.
It's scary.
He's gotten a few of those cleanup factor kills, and sometimes cleanup crew's all you got to play. When you're just trying to build up a lead for yourself, that's probably the best way to do it. It's even forced Cherryo to go for the early on Kile.
And I like this pickup from Cherryo to give him some more survivability against adapting against Yammyn, who I think he's very likely going to be focusing out those two and trying to play aggressive. So we'll see if that nets some dividends for him. I believe it likely will. As BigManTingz and he have been a very strong combination so far. Only a little bit of control is necessary to set up BigManTingz for the rain fire damage.
They will manage to stay in control, though, of their red buff at long last.
It's nice.
Yammyn gets to have that one again. And speaking of which, Dardez in a lot of trouble now. Actually gets destroyed by that Habwa water spout, and now he's still on the run.
Wrath of Terror lets him immune some damage. Dragonic Corruption not going to hit. Typhoon knocks him up. Dardez appears to be out. Going up to look for the snipe to Spudio, but adapting has already taken down Cherryo. NRG going to come out on top in that little skirmish by being able to find Cherryo.
Don't understand how Dardez somehow manages to walk away from that one, and quite literally walked away from that one. But well-timed Wrath of Terror didn't panic ult. I think that was the key thing there for Dardez. Unfortunate, though, that Cherryo ends up being the victim in his place, and now NRG starting to close in a little bit better here onto Mouse, able to tackle some of that early game aggression that we saw and meet it a little bit better.
Unfortunately, Taco, I think that might have actually been worse, that Cherryo ends up dying instead of Dardez. Ordinarily, you're okay with giving up your support to keep your jungle alive, but this time Cherryo comes in with the Typhoon to knock up a couple members, and because of that, he misses some farm on the map, adapting now level 11 as opposed to 9 for Cherryo.
I feel like this is also what happened in game 1 there for Cherryo, where he got off to kind of a decent start, was really starting to get the ball rolling, and then adapting just comes through and decimates his hopes and dreams of being relevant in the early game. We didn't see Cherryo again until later on down the line in that first match, and seems as though things might not be as easy as they once appeared now for Mouse, because with this 2-level disparity, adapting, as soon as he backs, he has the option to go for a blink, could possibly pick up the Aegis in case he's concerned about his own survivability even further. And if he does go for the Aegis, that's just going to make him one more difficult mage to take down.
It does feel very reminiscent of that game 1. I'm right there with you, though, Taco, because there's been some action early. The duo lane of Mouse is the one with the pressure, and Cherryo's getting focused out. That's kind of all you need for it to feel like game 1, right? Maybe a few more kills because it was just a ton of action, but they've still been doing plenty of fighting here in this game as well. As we're in our decider match. Again, remember, NRG already clinched their spot to LAN, but could be some seeding implications here on this set. Mousesports would certainly love to go into the fall split knowing they beat NRG.
Also felt a little bit like there was some mild miscommunication there for Mouse, because Cherryo goes in, but everyone else from Mouse doesn't seem very interested in fighting there. They're already backed up and kind of leaning towards the edge of their mid-tower T1. But now Mouse, they want to fight, and they're looking for it right now. Janus ultimate is going to be forced out there, and I love that they managed to make Yammyn burn that.
Looks like they're just going to leave after getting that ultimate. Dardez in some trouble. Walks across that threshold. Does get slowed. Sprint comes out to get him away from it. Cherryo drops the Typhoon. So it's the through space and time for Yammyn. The Typhoon that comes out from Cherryo, as well as the Sprint from Dardez. All in all, looks like they might have won that, except adapting had to use beads. That could be a nice window for Mouse as well.
Adapting used beads. maniaKK also used the teleport, so 2 pretty big cooldowns for NRG to keep in mind, but they will collect the oracles, which means if Mouse are to go for the Gold Fury anytime soon, NRG will be alerted to it, and Yammyn's ultimate will most likely be available by the time Mouse even decide to start pulling that again.
Especially with Chronos Pendant Mage's Blessing. They do land the stun on the Yammyn, but not able to get the pull. EmilZy escapes the pull as well. In fact, Portal responds from Dardez. Root lands. BigManTingz is there with the rain fire, but he didn't have enough bombs. Nika's lurking over the wall. Not going to be able to find anything.
Pretty sure he had that with one more firebomb.
I agree. Just
Probably Dardez would have gotten the credit for it, though, with like a Sylvanus auto attack somehow.
They do use the ultimate, though, to catch EmilZy underneath the tier 1 tower. Feeling a little bit brave against 3 members. maniaKK here to try and even things up, and Mouse has already disengaged.
Moment of silence there for EmilZy, if anybody was wondering, because he just straight up disappeared off the map. Nika gonna make sure Tingz is nice and healthy now as emilitoo's on the run from Cherryo.
They do force emilitoo to use the airstrike defensively, adapting has to leave as well after the snipes come out from Spudio. They turn their attention back towards the Gold Fury, but they don't have very many ults. It's just the rain fire. maniaKK goes in aggressively, but gets interrupted during the bludgeon. Spudio will survive for now, but maniaKK not done being aggressive with those thorns ticking. He forces Mouse back. They can't get the Gold Fury.
Both sides just had all of their carries pressured out so heavily that the front line are still trying to keep pushing more, but they can't. Mouse and NRG will effectively fall back from each other, and I still cannot believe that someone didn't end up dying there.
I think EmilZy died way at the beginning, but you're right, the fight around the Gold Tree itself, there were certainly no deaths there. So once they started moving in the fight around it, everyone made it back out, but NRG stalled them out, slow them down for just a moment, get adapting closer and closer to being the one-shot machine that he certainly will be later on in the game.
As much one-shot potential as adapting might have, though, going full glass cannon on this Habois means that he'll be fairly squishy himself. If Spudio opts for the crit option, or the crit route, which I kind of expect him to, well, I guess it really all depends on how he feels with maniaKK being on the board, because Bellona's disarm plus the thorns and what'll probably end up being a Midgardian Mail here pretty soon in that 3rd item slot, it could be a very heavy deterrence factor for keeping Spudio off of that crit option.
That's right. He might have to kind of pay some mind to where maniaKK goes with this build. Maybe kind of play a little bit safer with this 3rd item, like an Inquile or something to that effect. Could be good either way, whichever build he wants to go. So we'll see. Maybe an Executioner here. Well, he'll have some time to decide if he wants to go all in on crit or not.
Probably the best part about this set so far for me, though, Finch, is the fact that Mouse just aren't scared of NRG. I think we see it happen all the time where teams play a little bit scared up against these guys, and Mouse, they're just doing their own thing.
And I love that. You're exactly right to point it out. From minute 1 of this set, they have not seemed intimidated at all, and I think that's Mouse gaining confidence as a 5-man unit, as EmilZy gets caught a little bit too far forward. Rain fire, going to get some good damage on him, but he should be safe at this point. Dardez not going to be able to find anyone with the pull, so Mouse again fall back.
Yammyn all by his lonesome in the mid lane, because the rest of his team was towards those back harpies. emilitoo's been pretty deprived of farm, but still managed to catch back up the Spudio just by playing it safe. Sometimes you just gotta play it safe. When the dual lane starts off as rough as it did for NRG there, you just have to accept that you're going to be playing from behind, and Cherryo also has done a great job at trying to keep emilitoo away from the lane for farming.
He really has. He's done a good job just staying relevant, too, as it looks like Draconic Corruption came out from EmilZy. He used his ultimate, perhaps was about to get caught out and used it for the CC immunity, so he won't have that available if Mouse want to force a fight around the Gold Fury. But Cherryo's done a great job here this game so far. NRG are doing a great job of itemizing into some anti-heal early. They've got the Pestilence already, Taco. They've got the Divine Ruin. So they've got some tools to try and limit what Nika's going to be able to do in this Chang'e already. So even though they have the Chang'e, it just won't be at that max value. That bunny was zooming. Did y'all see that bunny flying? Does it really move that fast when he's trying to give you an item? I don't feel like it.
Bunny had some G Fuel.
Tucker, why are you selling out today? What's going on?
Oh, man. It was the closest family-friendly thing I could think of.
Oh, I see.
Come on, man.
I think you get into one car accident and Taco's like, nah, I need some money. That's what happens.
Oh, man.
Some aggression from Tingz over the
Mouse
wall.
want money, too. I'm not the only one. They're trying to get this Gold Fury. NRG trying to line their pockets also, though.
Pull comes out into EmilZy to bring him back in, adapting for damage, but gets controlled by Tingz. He's brought low and's got to leave. Spudio looking for the snipes, can't find adapting. He'll survive for now. Gold Fury incredibly low through space and time, not there. Neither is Airstrike. Mouse grab the Gold Fury.
There's the objective secure we've been waiting for from Mouse. Speaking of which, they're going to get more than that. Yammyn falls. Cherryo also ends up taking a spill, but unfortunately, that was for NRG, not Mouse. So, all in all, ends up being completely even trade out. But considering Mouse get the Gold Fury, they'll take it.
Absolutely, they'll take it. Mouse now with a little bit of a lead. Gonna come grab the tier 1 tower in the mid lane as well. Cherryo traded out for Yammyn, and when you consider that Cherryo has already been a bit behind this game, it doesn't hurt that they are able to take down the Janus. They look towards the Fire Giant for a moment, and I like that they stop and go for the Pyromancer instead. Maniac right here, so is emilitoo. They're not gonna go with this Pyromancer for free. It's been leashed for the moment, and it ends up going the way of NRG. Now Mouse have given a little bit back on the back end.
EmilZy maybe getting a little bit threatened there. BigManTingz, level 16 on this Agni, really starting to put in work in terms of damage numbers.
EmilZy gets pulled right back in. Dragonic Corruption to get away from damage, but they'll be waiting for him the moment he lands. Not even going to get a chance to get his jump off. Spudio takes down EmilZy, who sticks around a little bit too long after the Pyromancer steal.
Even if EmilZy managed to jump away in that Draconic farm, I am 99% sure that Mouse would have followed it up anyway. Everyone else from NRG had elected to back off. They were pretty understanding and accepting of EmilZy's death in that moment.
And I know earlier that I said, and that was a great fight from both these teams. I know earlier I said that Taco got hurt in a car accident, but that's actually a lie. Taco got this injury trying to impress a bunch of middle schoolers behind a mall parking lot.
I was
trying to do
actually
a
fighting a
skateboard trick.
tiger.
She was trying to do a skateboard trick, yeah.
No, I was fighting a tiger.
El Tigre?
Look, we have to give them a different story every time now.
That is new. No one knows that that's what actually happened.
Yesterday. Speaking of which, Cherryo wishing that he could pretend this gank isn't happening right now. He thought he had the one up on emilitoo, and instead it's Yammyn and emilitoo tag teaming him.
Yeah, my man's got to be dead to right there. emilitoo gets the auto and he ends up falling. Cherryo goes a little bit too far forward, at least forcing them to chase him away from the rest of his squad. So he's the only one that ends up falling there, but Mousesports give a little bit more back on the back end. They did grab EmilZy, yes, but now that they've also traded out Cherryo, NRG have been able to even things up a little bit more. It's about a 1,300 gold lead in Mouse's favor, 20 minutes in. Barely any experience to talk about. This game still dead even between these two teams. And could you have thought we'd have been saying that at the start of the summer split, that Mouse would be dead even with NRG?
Look at EmilZy. He's going so aggressive right now against Mouse, but dropping that Draconic form so early before adapting in Yammyn were actually close enough to follow up means that it's a freebie back off for BigManTingz. Everything completely telegraphed to him. And speaking of graphs, Finch, after taking a look at the charts, I mean, it looks like a heart rate monitor, and it might be mine because it is all over the place right now watching these two teams go at it.
It's so back and forth. It's so even between them. I mean, it really feels like Mouse is here to play and a genuine contender in Europe now, and that's a lot to say because it's so close between Obey, between Digital, between Rival and NRG. It's hard to sort of find your place in Europe. It's so crowded, but Mousesports have kind of broken through. They haven't won this set yet, but they've certainly impressed here and have a lot to build on going into fall.
So much on the line here for Mouse in terms of pride. I think that this would be a huge statement set
Absolutely.
for Mouse to pick up. NRG have already punched their ticket to land, sure, but they haven't guaranteed their seeding, and if Mouse are able to topple NRG here, that could have some pretty big implications for the future.
We've kind of slowed it down just a little bit, though. Really, there haven't been a ton of kills, only 13 in total, despite us being 21.5 minutes into this game. We've already talked about how the game is even at this point, but the next big backbreaker could be Fire Giant or Gold Fury, or it could just be EmilZy's unfettered aggression. I mean, my man does not seem worried at all, constantly walking into Mouse, trying to find some hammer stuns and catch someone out to set up for the rest of his team.
I could say the same about Cherryo, though. He's probably receiving a lot of flack just looking at that score line in general. 1 in 5, never a nice spot to be in, but you can't undermine what he's been able to set up for the rest of his team. These Typhoons, consistent win siphons, sure, it might cost him his life, but if he's able to get a trade-out kill against a carry like Yammyn, adapting emilitoo, that doesn't matter. I'd rather kill one of those three than have Cherryo.
EmilZy gets pulled back in, forced into the Draconic Corruption. Typhoon waiting for him. BigManTingz tanks down EmilZy very early on. Now, Maniac's not a part of this fight just yet. He was getting the tier 1 tower over in right. He does eventually teleport in, dash aggressively for BigManTingz. That could be trouble. Had to use Aegis defensively. Through space and time, doesn't quite hit him, but they can go in aggressive. Tings might have gone too far.
Tingz might have gone too far, but there's Nika to bail him out just in case. Cherryo still looking for more against adapting. He's incredibly low right now. Yammyn and maniaKK are going to make sure to give chase, but he's still alive.
They actually pull maniaKK over the wall, so towards Cherryo. Yammyn able to find that kill. It's been a 1 for 2 so far, still in Mousesports' favor, but Spudio wants to trade it out. emilitoo going to drop back down, take the first shot. A gets to immune, can't find the third. emilitoo will survive.
Both of these hunters just barely left standing to the other. And emilitoo actually with the item advantage over Spudio, but I'm pretty sure he took a lot of tower shots trying to dive that. Ending up behind the T1 means that he was more likely than not diving Spudio underneath his own tower.
And Spudio able to almost answer back with that ultimate airstrike was used to get him away defensively, so they almost ended up finding a kill there, but both of them were safe. Meanwhile, though, Mouse did win the fight overall. They gave up Cherryo, but they got a couple kills.
And both hunters lost their Aegises, but Spudio's will be up about 10 seconds sooner than emilitoo's, which actually can make the difference between winning and losing a team fight.
EmilZy, again, the furthest forward, taking some rain fire to the face. Gold Fury being considered. They are all grouped up around it. Everyone except for Cherryo, who's not around, and adapting, also grabbing his speed. These junglers know what's truly important, Taco, and that's moving fast. Gold Fury already brought down to half HP. emilitoo, maniaKK, and emilZy right here to defend, but Mouse leashed the Gold Fury for at least for now.
Dardez just toying with the thought of it, keeping NRG interested. emilZy still jumping forward. Draconic Form going to be popped already, and through space and time, manages to connect onto Spudio.
Eagles rally to land on Tingz. Yammyn follows up for a nice kill. emilitoo takes down Spudio, 2 for 0 already. Cherryo takes a big wave right to the face and ends up falling to adapting, 3 for 0. NRG standing up tall up against the challengers, and they want to keep pushing forward. Yammyn takes an aggressive portal and tries to take down Nika.
And this is Mouse's worst nightmare. Everybody grouped up into one tiny little corridor behind the Gold Fury pit just means free triples all day long if you're adapting. Collecting that last one onto Dardez, in fact, and I still cannot believe how quickly that entire fight turned south for Mouse.
Yeah, if you want to try and take this top spot in Europe, you got to go through the Adapt King, or at least it feels that way. The Hobwalk coming up big. They get a 2,100 net gold advantage, 4,300 experience. Add the Gold Fury to that. The rest of the team taking care of the Fire Giant as Yammyn just kind of chills out. Mousesports in one fell swoop have lost so much. This game no longer even. It's now pretty heavily in NRG's favor.
The explosive burst damage out of NRG, it just completely caught Mouse off guard. I don't think any of them were expecting emilZy, 6 levels under pretty much everybody who can deal damage against him, to jump right into the thick of things. And he just had no care in the world. Just drops the Draconic Form, gets that slow off, through space and time, immediately clips against Spudio, and I believe it also channeled into BigManTingz, and then, of course, Yammyn's follow-up from his own ultimate Unstable Vortex just obliterates BigManTingz into the next life, and well, now we're here.
Now we're here where NRG have 3 tier 2 towers to go grab, Taco, and then Phoenix is right beyond that. Mousesports have got to find a way to make some miracle defenses to their favor. They did a great job in doing the defenses in Game 1 and 2. They didn't make it easy for NRG in Game 1. They kind of all at once took Game 2 in about 25 minutes, so Mouse certainly have shown they have the capabilities, but does this squad have those same tools?
All that fight really did was establish a distinct lead for NRG. I cannot say that it is determined the winner or the outcome of this match entirely, because Mouse held on for so long there in Game 1. They've got the double sustain composition going for them yet again. They also have BigManTingz with that bomb defense on the Agni. Cherryo's pushed out left lane pretty heavily, and there's still a couple of T2s left standing. But now Mouse, they've just got to try and defend while Cherryo's trying to back.
maniaKK goes in aggressive. Nika takes a ton of damage from emilitoo. maniaKK dies the back line with the Eagles rally. BigManTingz looking for some bombs, but takes a ton of damage in return. NRG grab the Phoenix on the right-hand side. Cherryo goes in aggressive, but airstrike from emilitoo gets him away. Mouse want to try and punish them on the back end, but NRG have disengaged too cleanly.
They get the Phoenix, and they keep everybody alive in the process. Cherryo just wasn't able to get back in time, and Mouse knew that they would have to forfeit at least one of these Phoenixes. But I like the fight that they did try to take. Once Nika's Waxing Moon didn't connect with anything promising, though, the choice to back off there and accept that they lost that Phoenix was probably the right one.
Tier 2 tower. Mouse are showing some presence around this, Taco. I'd be surprised if they want to go for the full defense here, but they're at least not going to let it go down for free for NRG, who's going to start stripping away the jungle from their Mouse counterparts. And it looks like for now, NRG are going to fall back. Mouse keep their tier 2 standing, but they already lost the Phoenix and Right.
Phoenix and Right no longer standing, but with those 2 towers still left intact, NRG, they're going to choose to back and spend all that gold that they just acquired. Definitely the right way to go about it. Still a couple of last-minute items that they might want to pick up and finish off, I should say. emilitoo, not even full build yet. A lot of the members from NRG still missing out on just those last little bits.
They should have some time here to get that gold necessary to finish those builds off. They only have a little bit more to go. Emperor's Armor already there for EmilZy to try and slow down those shots. Ton of penetration coming out from adapting. He should be blowing right through any defenses. And look at maniaKK. I mean, so tanky at this point. 6 high to the Urchin stacks. Pestilence, Magai's Cloak. He won't be easy to take down as he continues to dive into the backline. NRG in a great spot.
NRG have definitely been looking really strong on these last couple of pushes up into Mouse. I think the big thing here is that Mouse just aren't sure which direction Adapting is going to come at them with. Adapting has been playing very reserved on this Habois.
Yeah.
He has not been trying to start things off with the Blink water spouts into a crushing wave. Instead, he's just been sitting back, waiting for all of the calamity to take place, and then he chooses to strike.
I like that trust we just saw from BigManTingz dropping the rain fire off the pull from Dardez. They didn't get it, but I like that he was right there to follow up had they gone for it. In the end, the tier 2 tower falls, and NRG still very, very comfortable afterwards. But you talked a little bit about Adapting's play. I mean, he has 12,000 damage at this point in the game, or right near it, but 7 kills has all been relevant. It's been burst to take you down quickly.
Everything is pretty much poised to strike now. NRG still waiting for their final moment, and I think that it'll probably come with this next Fire Giant. It seems as though everyone from NRG is loosely grouped up. They're all relatively in the same area, outside of emilitoo, who's checking out that Fire Giant pit first and foremost.
He's going to be lining up there to grab it as soon as it respawns. Mousesports taking this time to get close, and so now they should be able to have a chance to be at least as close as possible for this defense. They've got a lot of strong tools, though, at their disposal. Rod of Tahuti is a rock in there for BigManTingz to bring him a ton of extra power. As long as he's on the backside, he should be able to still help control things.
Gotta be so difficult, by the way, for Cherryo. I mean, it's a tough decision going for the Magai's Cloak into this team comp. EmilZy, though, trying to start things off strong. Spudio gonna get to Aegis out the through space in time. It did connect, but didn't get to do much after.
emilitoo going aggressive on the BigManTingz, not gonna let him get off the rainfire. Dardez hits the Wrath of Terror to get him a little bit of space, but maniaKK doesn't care. He comes in and finds BigManTingz. Nika trades down emilitoo's life, though, 1-for-1. Hunter for mid laner. Adapting and Yammyn have got to retreat, but Dardez, Nika, and Cherryo want to collapse onto the back line. That's going to be maniaKK.
maniaKK all by himself. Windsniping going to take out that Magai's Cloak, and he shouldn't be left standing for much longer here. And sure enough, Nika finds it, and now all chase is on. Well, take that back. They're not actually looking to pursue anything else afterwards, but with 2-for-1 trade out, Mouse managing to still stay alive throughout the duration of that fight.
I don't understand how Mouse do it, man. They just keep staying in it up against NRG. They're right here. Now they have the advantage, 4v3. maniaKK and emilitoo not here. EmilZy and Yammyn lurking nearby to try and strip this away. No through space and time available. Mouse, they're not going to go for the Fire Giant. They don't feel comfortable yet. They're just going to take their defense, try and keep their Phoenix healthy, and fall back.
Right now is the time. EmilZy gonna get pulled in from Dardez, but he'll be able to jump away safely. Pyromancer being taken out by Yammyn and Adapting, but no one's really paying much mind to that because Pyromancer not necessarily as serious of a objective this late into a match. Right now it's all about that Fire Daddy brawl, and if they can take this one home, Mouse has the potential to maybe look for a comeback.
Tier 2 tower falls in left for NRG. Mouse just with some minions doing their, doing their work, able to bring that down eventually. Now the Fire Giant fight, though, that is going to be the next big point here of contestation between these two squads. Mouse had an opportunity where they were the ones out in front, where they could have potentially come in and taken down the Fire Giant with the 4v3 advantage, but they didn't take it, not with Yammyn still around, not with emilZy there, and now for another 5-on-5. Mouse have already shown they can respond. They got to try and win it one more time. NRG didn't fight on the objective, though. They kind of moved beyond it to try and take the fight in the jungle. Do you expect they're going to try something similar again?
Mouse know that the odds are against them in this one, but that has not swayed the team in the slightest. They've lost the Phoenix one time, but it's revived and halfway healthy, and that's about as good as it's going to get here for these guys. And now, if they can just manage to find one more of those successful team fights, all they need is 2-3 picks, and then they can probably find their own respective Phoenix, if not the match itself.
Fire Giant being considered now. They are starting to poke it and bring it down. Mousesports are right around the corner, so they certainly know this one's happening. Look at Cherryo lurking on the back end. He has the maniaKK's cloak. It looks like NRG have recognized he's here. Got to be careful. Is going to get out without expending any important resources. NRG, though, playing this cautiously. They recognize just how much is at stake in this set.
emilZy forced into the Draconic form early on. This is exactly what Mouse needed. They need to disengage immediately. No one can be caught out of position here. Nika, he can afford to take up a little bit of those shots from emilitoo, heal those right back up, no problem.
Now that is a nice win for Mousesports. They've been able to get the Draconic Corruption out of emilZy for free. That's one of his big safety factors. That AoE Coerce has been really helping them in the team fights, and Mousesports forced that one out by catching him out in the jungle. Doesn't have the maniaKK's cloak either for a little while longer, trying to keep him alive. He doesn't have one at all, actually, for emilZy, so he's certainly going to stay a relatively easy target as Mouse group up into the Fire Giant.
Probably would have seen more maniaKK's cloaks if it wasn't for maniaKK on the Bellona. That disarm just so strong and effective against anybody who opts to pick up a maniaKK's cloak. And, well, because of that fact, it's only Cherryo that's choosing to go for it here because he just kind of can't really afford to not have one. He needs it if he wants to find any form of aggression against Adapting or Yammyn. Otherwise, he'll end up getting water spouted and controlled into oblivion.
maniaKK goes in aggressive through space and time, hits two members. BigManTingz left alone and isolated, and Adapting removes him from the map. Now using through space and time, all 5 members come through for the collapse. Spudio, nowhere to go, has to go up into the air to look for the snipes, but he's been left alone on an island. He rolls away, maniaKK jumps in aggressive. Aegis keeps him alive, Wrath of Terror in the shell, but Cherryo falls in the back end, only getting Yammyn.
Cherryo manages to find Yammyn, though, and that's still huge for Mouse here. They might end up losing this right-hand Phoenix one more time, but with 3 members still alive, they could very well end up defending their base again.
Cherryo broke off to grab the tier 2 tower in mid, and NRG took that opportunity to go in aggressive. Phoenix on the right-hand side is going to fall. 4 members strong, and they don't feel comfortable to push into Mouse just yet, especially with emilZy about to de-transform. They jump away to give him that space, and now they fall back.
Everybody's forced to fall back there from NRG. Without the Fire Giant, didn't really feel too comfortable sticking around. They don't have the same sort of HP 5 regen that they would have received from the Fire Daddy, and it's just so much tension. We keep having to bring it up because it's unreal how much of a kickback Mouse just continue to have into NRG.
NRG can't find a way to just put Mouse to bed, at least not yet. It just has not been easy.
By the way, it wasn't brought up at the time because I'm still a little bit in disbelief that Spudio survives.
Oh,
by
right,
the way.
yeah.
He, for all intents and purposes, I just assumed that he was dead. I didn't say it, but I assumed it.
Well, Dardez did everything that you can do to try and keep someone alive. Nika was right there with him as well, sort of usher him out. The Wrath of Terror was good. A shell, I believe, came out from Nika along with a little bit of healing, and they got Spudio out of there, but he looked dead to rights. He also canceled his ultimate early, drops back down and rolls a little bit before NRG would expect it to allow himself to reposition.
Dardez is just such a good support.
He really is good.
Like, that is... If you had to draft an all-star team, I'd put Dardez on it.
You think you'd take Dardez as your
I would take
support
Dardez
overall?
as a support.
He's really good, but a lot of good support. But you're right, Dardez is really good. Pyromancer goes the way of NRG. Mousesports continue to hover around them like a fly you just can't swat away. NRG can find a way to close this game out. Now, Mouser, since it's the Phoenix on the right-hand side, they are able to sort of move over, grab the fire minions, and move back in and defend the fire giant without too much trouble because it's the one closest to the FG. But Cherryo's alone. NRG completely give him the FG and try and come to collapse on him. They can't find him. Now they're going to move back in.
Mouse weren't interested in trying to seize the fire giant during that time period. They knew if they went to go pull it, NRG would respawn. And speaking of respawn, Spudio won't get to stay alive. This time around, crushing wave has him down and out for the count.
Gets deleted immediately. maniaKK finds the Eagles rally over the top. The stun out too. BigManTingz gets drowned. Nowhere to go. EmilZy finds that last hit. Dardez already out of there. emilitoo's one that takes him down. Nika eliminated as well. 4 for 0. NRG Esports break through the gates of Mousesports. And now with the Phoenix already down the right-hand side, NRG should finally be able to take game 3 in a very close set over Mouse.
Mouse put up a great fight the whole way through. Cherryo still looking to not give it up just yet. He's trying to take one with him, but he won't be able to find it. Yammyn just barely manages to survive off of the portal on his feet. And he takes Cherryo with him, although that was emilitoo, I believe, who got credit for the last hit.
A very, very close set here between Mouse and NRG Esports. Eventually, a decisive is what paves the way for NRG to take the set, to give themselves that set victory over Mouse as well, in the best position to try and grab that #1 seed they could hope for, aside from a 2-0, obviously. And now, Mouse, they're not going to be able to make it to land, but what a great set to try and build off of towards fall.
That was a fantastic set to witness between these two teams. I mean, you've got two different sides of the spectrum as far as standings are concerned, but if we had to gauge it off of team play alone, I think Mouse have well earned the right to be a team, I think, that can actually have contention for that top 3 position in the fall split.
I think absolutely. Going forward, man, you might have to kind of even up those predictions before the match a little bit more. It can't be 70-29 with how well Mouse have been able to consistently play. But NRG, over and over again, when they get tough challengers like Mouse, when they find their openings, they take them, they swarm you, and they're able to grab their victory. NRG continues to look strong.
NRG have to look strong. I mean, we called it as soon as the spring LAN came around and NRG weren't participants for it.
Oh, yeah.
We knew that there was no way that NRG weren't going to make sure that they qualify for the summer LAN, and that's why we see this kind of gameplay coming forward from them today.
Well, who's going to be your MVP from NRG? Yammyn certainly had an excellent game, but I mean, you could say emilZy as well. He routinely baited himself out, is the one that initiated those fights and got them started on a good foot for NRG.
For me, it's about Yammyn in that one. I think that there were just way too many through space and times that were just so effective at cutting off Mouse's escape routes, and that was, I think, a large part of the reason why NRG even ended up staying in contention during that fire giant pit initially.
It was his through space and time that sort of set up for the wraparound where all 5 members collapsed around as well. So not just for the damage, but just the way that you can facilitate for the team. A really great game there from Yammyn. Everyone at NRG played well. Let's get it back over to the desk to hear their final thoughts about that set.
Thanks, fam. Here, Tom and Toli bringing you the business here as we get into, well, get out of this matchup. Mouse unable to bring it home, unable to find their tie, unable to make it to LAN, but absolutely able to excite, impress, and get us ready for the fall split.
They definitely did a good job in game #2. Couldn't really bring it home in #3 because of how much pressure that both Yammyn and Adapting brought to the table. Between the mobility from the Janus and the aggression from the Habwa, Adapting safely goes 10-1-8.
I mean, that's really the key here is that the Habwa, the Hebo, whatever you want to call him, he's still going to hit you as hard as he does. 10-1 and some assists sprinkled on top does get him the most valuable player. And can I put on my I told you so hat? Because I've been singing about Jungle Hebo for how long?
It's definitely a thing. I mean, not only does Adapting run it, but Cherryo runs it. There's a few junglers in North America. Homie Efe has run it before in the past.
It's so good.
It's not that uncommon. It's just a safety thing. How confident are you in your own abilities to play it in the SPL? Because every jungler has definitely experimented with it in the past. Doesn't have always the most success on the training ground, so they don't bring it to the battlefield.
I just love this selection. I think that Water Spout is enough crowd control to make him a significant threat, both in the jungle and in lane when he's ganking. The water carpet, especially with how thin the walkways are in the jungle.
Sure.
Forget about chasing this dude. Like, Hebo, man, just doing it and adapting, using the character to go ahead and get game number 3.
It was a beautiful performance by him and Yammyn when that team fight around the 24-minute mark, the Gold Fury that opened the door wide open. Decisive from NRG being able to get all 5 members from Mouse, get the Gold Fury, and really just start packing in the game from there on out.
Yeah, just stupid fun being able to watch this. And if that's got you excited, you want to go home and play some Hebo, you absolutely can. He's got a couple of skins. Gem sales going on right now. 35% off for a limited time. Go ahead and grab your Hebo skins or your Loki skins, or I don't know, what's your favorite character?
The Kabrakan Fat Loki skin.
Get yourself a Loki skin.
There you go.
There you go.
Lokiception.
Like that. Loki inside of a Loki. On top of a Loki.
You're being a little too high key right now. Putting too much attention into it.
High key. Loki.
Yeah.
Loki.
Yes.
This
is happening.
Ladies and gentlemen, Anatoly Alexeyenok.
This is
in
happening.
The flesh.
Yes.
I mean, this guy, he's going to be here all week. He'll be here all split. He'll be here all fall as well. If you want to catch him live in the flesh, join Anatoly live at hi-rez Expo, hi-rezexpo.com. You can get your tickets, and you can, you know what? If you heckle him, I will give you like fruit snacks or something.
No, please don't do that. It's not just me that's going to be there. Mr. Tom Battinger is going to be there. Melissa Posada, John Finch, Ryan Agro, Bailey.
Who is Melissa Posada?
I don't know, actually. I only know her by Taco. I think that she has
I'm
like another
familiar.
split personality. Can't forget the gambler as well, Mr. Graham Hatfield. Congratulations to England winning their game barely against Colombia. I'm sure if you listen closely, if you just don't make a word, you can hear him cheering in the distance. You hear that? That was him.
Nice. There it was.
There it was.
So savage. But yes, England wins, Mouse lose, but we do go on. We got one more match. Don't forget, Wednesday, tomorrow, July 4th, we are going to take a little bit of a break. No broadcast. So that means we have one game today, and then the other game will broadcast on Thursday. That's at 1. But right now, stay tuned. North America coming your way. Just a moment.
We're falling like stars.